Now that we learned what it means to be certified, we may as well enter into details. How can my company prove that it is compliant to what the standard is saying? Is it possible to just make a self-assessment? Can my company just state my rules are made according to the 45001 standard? Actually, no. Self-assessments have a very big flow. Their strength depends on your reputation. This would lead big and well-known companies to take advantage from a positive bias, and small and unknown companies to suffer from a negative bias. Also, judging your own company without any kind of interference would be quite difficult. So, ISO came out with a better solution, the process of third-party auditing. Simply put, this means that a third-party certification company comes to your company and inspects it. We will explore these concepts in a more detailed way in the courses section dedicated to the audits. By now, the point is that once a year, your company undergoes something like an exam or inspection by an impartial company that almost just does this kind of exam inspection. How does the third party work? The third party company makes its inspections according to specific guidelines made by a national accreditation body. Each nation has its own national accreditation body. These national accreditation body periodically come and check if the third party is working properly. In other words, they check if the third party body is working according to the guidelines. The chain goes on. These national accreditation bodies, in turn, are periodically checked by an international body called International Accreditation Forum. And what do? They check if the national accreditation body is working according to their standards. So you may see how there is a very strict chain of controls. A checks B checks C checks D. This gives value to the inspection that your company will receive. None can suspect that the results of the inspection were somehow tampered, because the company that inspects you has all the reasons in this world to be professional and impartial. If the third-party body were not professional, the national accreditation body would find that, and they could even revoke their license to operate. In these slides, we used the simple drawing of a magnifying glass every time we spoke of inspections. What do we mean by inspections? It's actually a simplification. So far, we talked of inspections, but since they are made in a particular way, they deserve the correct term: audits. What are audits? A little bit of history. The word audit comes from Latin audire. The very first audits were made by the ancient Romans, who sent specifically trained public employees to check if the most peripheral areas of the empire followed the Roman rules correctly. The modern audits somehow follow the same principles. Think of the company that made the audits as an indirect way through which the ISO checks if companies correctly follow what is stated in the standards. Now, you may as well ask yourself, how often do these audits happen? Is it a once-in-a-lifetime thing? After all, we often spoke of audits as something not that distant from an inspection or an exam, and in some cases there are exams that happen once in a lifetime, just like the graduation from high school or the driving license exam. For audits, it doesn't work that way. It works as following. Your company will receive an audit every year with this pattern: 1 intense audit, 2 easier audits, 1 intense audit, 2 easier audits, and so on. Why? There are many reasons why. We will stick to the most important ones. First of all, sampling. It's very difficult to do a complete check of everything your company does and every way your company ensures proper health and safety measures in everything it does. So, it's better to program your audits and schedule them in a 3-year span. Also, we don't want anyone to think that your company was perfect the first time the audit took place, and then everything went wrong as soon as you got the certificate. Let's go into some more details of how these audits are planned. The first audit your company will receive is called a certification audit. It will be quite intense. It will last more days because it will sample more processes. Then, once a year and for 2 years, it will receive a surveillance audit. Surveillance audits are less intense. They require fewer days of auditing because they check just a fraction of all your company's processes. What happens after 3 years? Your company will go through a recertification audit, which is as intense as the certification audit. So, in this simple example, you can see the certification pattern. A big audit in 2020 a certification audit, a small audit in 2021, a small audit in 2022, a big audit in 2023, a recertification audit, and so on. Okay, this ends our introduction. In this first part, we became familiar with the basic terms of this course, such as certification, audits, and certification bodies. They may be simple concepts, and actually, they are, but it has been worth it spending more time to be sure that they are clear before proceeding. As you can see, the road to our final goal is just at the beginning, but with a step-by-step approach, we will get to the final destination. Thanks for following the course so far. If you need some help or you have any question on these topics, please send us an email at occam@occam-consult.com. As soon as you finish the following test, see you on Chapter 2, the Health and Safety Management System.